This is the Deliberate Talks Weekly Podcast, powered by the Pixelated Egg Digital Ventures. Tune in every week to learn something new about digital marketing and entrepreneurship. And now, over to the voice of your host, Dakshin Adyantaya. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to a fresh new week and extending where we last left on the peak of power talks on women's cricket. We are back to dive deeper into a conversation with none other than the former Indian cricketer Soniya Dabir. I'm your host Dakshin Adyantaya, and before we converse with Sonia, here are some interesting stats about women's cricket. Did you know Mithali Raj holds the record of the highest run getter in the ODI history? New Zealand holds the record for the highest score in women's ODI cricket with a score of 491 runs. Also, New Zealand's Amelia Kerr holds the record of the highest individual score with an unbeaten 232 from 145 deliveries. And finally, Julan Goswami holds the record of maximum wickets in ODI with 233 wickets. And now, to talk more about this, as a player, as a teammate, as a coach, we have someone who's a former Indian cricketer. She was an off spinner and a middle order batter who made her debut in 2010 in a home series against England. She was also awarded the Woman of the Match award for her performance in the playoff match against Pakistan in 2014. Here's introducing Soniya Dabir. Hello Sonia, welcome to the Deliberate Talks podcast.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Pleasure to host you firstly on the show. Thank you so much for making time for the show.
Thank you so much.
So, Sonia, I've been reading a little bit about your journey beyond the Indian cricket team and heard that cricket wasn't really your first sport. In
Yeah,
fact, you played badminton first.
yeah.
And you've been speaking about this a lot on your shows and chats. But
Yeah.
firstly, tell me one thing. What would the story have been today if you never left badminton? And secondly, how did cricket come into your life? What would have happened if you would have been a badminton player instead of a cricket player?
Oh, okay. See, basically, I started playing badminton when I was in third standard.
Right.
So that journey was equally good, I will say, because I used to enjoy playing badminton a lot, and even today I enjoy playing badminton a lot. So the thing was, I played till ninth standard, and then my health was not good, so I
Right.
had to take a break. And after that, there was my like 10th standard. So that was a long break because of which the badminton actually stopped.
Mm.
And cricket, I will say that definitely from since childhood, I enjoyed playing cricket in my like all others. I played cricket in my gully, in my building. So I used to enjoy cricket, but actually speaking, I never knew that when where women's cricket was happening, or like where can I go and learn or take a coaching for cricket.
Right, right. But you did mention that till 10th it wasn't there, which means it's normally late in terms of getting into cricket. Normally by that age, people are already into clubs and practicing.
Yes.
But since you got into a little bit late, firstly, how
Mhm.
did you come across the fact that there are club crickets, and where did you go first and who did you meet and all those kind of things? Can
Yeah,
you cover?
actually, there was a newspaper advertisement in Sakar that time that there's going to be a summer camp for women at Nehru Stadium.
Okay.
So as soon as I read that news, I was like, great, I want to go and join that. So next day, there I was at Nehru Stadium for the camp, and former Maharashtra and India player like Kalyani Dokrikar and Amrita Shinde who were there.
Right.
Then Mr. Suresh Dumke who was also there present there and who used to coach senior team that time. So these people were there, and they have like as per when I read the advertisement, I went and enrolled myself, and since then the journey started for my cricket.
Right, right. But interestingly, Sonia, when we look at films, they dramatize the whole aspect of the career of cricketers and
Yeah,
sportsmen. But one part is there's also a part where, there's an inspiration that comes from it, right? So
yeah.
so from a cricket aspect of it or cricket
Mhm.
match, which was that moment that really influenced you to take a decision to become a cricketer? I'm sure you have role models, you had role models back then as well. So who was that cricketer who you thoroughly enjoyed watching and said one day I want to play for the country just like he or she does?
Actually, see, like everyone else, even I idolized Sachin Tendulkar, and till date I have been idolizing him, even though now he's retired from cricket. But to be very honest, with women's cricket, I had seen the 1996 World Cup that time on television.
Right.
So that time, I guess I remember India versus New Zealand match, which was played at Calcutta, and I had seen Purnima Rao's batting that time, and it was a very close match. Like it got tied because of some misunderstanding in the like running between in the game that time. But that innings of Purnima Rao, I had seen that, and then as I said, when I at that point of time I saw girls playing cricket and the way she batted Purnima Rao. Actually, she's become my mentor as well because fortunately, as I started playing, I got to meet her. I played with her in Air India team, and she was my coach during the 2014 World Cup as well.
So, Sonia, one more thing is, how difficult was it then, with you said 1996 match and
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
decided, by the time you got into Air India and playing for the club level, really, how difficult was it from convincing parents to hearing it from friends and getting it support in terms of women cricket from that time itself? Though it was there, it always was there during a long time, but
Yeah,
really came into the highlight recently,
yeah,
in the past 1 decade or so. But
yes.
this whole aspect for back then, how difficult was it, and how long did it take you to convince people, your parents firstly, and then your people around to get their support?
So actually, in that aspect, I have been very lucky because I hardly had to convince my parents because they knew that I was into sports like very much since my childhood. So they had seen me playing cricket in the society or in the gullies as well. So
Right.
that was not a difficult task at all, I will say, because they've always supported me playing cricket, and it just went very smoothly with them, convincing them.
Right. What about friends?
So when I started playing cricket, I've made lot many friends, and they have
Right.
all supported me till date that I'm coaching. Even now they are like, yeah, you should continue coaching. You have like, and personally, I felt that after retiring in 2014, I definitely thought that I definitely owe many things to this game, which has given me so much. So friends, I have a lot of friends in cricket and of course off the field as well. So they
Mhm.
all were so very supportive because somewhere I guess they knew that I had that spark which I can continue and play a longer, the cricket for a long time.
Right. Right. And also a debut at 30.
Yeah.
Even for the men's, barring, now we are having a conversation where Surya Kumar Yadav and
Yes.
Krunal have made a debut at that age.
Yes.
But, things a decade ago was completely different. When you
Definitely.
came into the team at 30, people used to say you have a career left of 4 or 5 years, depending on your consistency, making way for the newer generation and all those kind of things. Firstly, making a debut at 30, playing with younger colleagues and planning the next few years, how was your experience in the national side and what did it really teach you?
Actually, when I made my debut at the age of 30, like, like many of the athletes say that age is just a number. At
Mhm.
that point of time, somewhere back of the mind, I knew that even if I'm playing with a younger lot, I was fit enough to compete with them and with myself as well.
Right.
Compete with them as in not in a different way, but like, you have to set standards for your own self. And for
Abs-
that, when you have a younger generation or younger lot playing with you, it helps you in motivating yourself itself.
Mhm.
So
Right.
that was the thing which really helped me. Apart from that, there was Julian, Mithali. Julian, I've played with her since Air India time.
Right.
Mithali, I've not played with her definitely, like in the same team, but it's like since under 19, we playing together. She was in Andhra team. I represented Maharashtra, or for that matter, Julian played in West Bengal. So in that case, it was not that like suddenly I've come into a new team. It was not that difficult as well. It was
Mhm.
a really good experience, actually speaking.
Very good. Very good. And like you shared the dressing room, like you mentioned, with Anjum, with Mitali,
Yes,
Julan,
yes.
Anju, and
Yeah,
others, right? What was that like? How does the dressing room help each other? Because you said it's also competitive, which is right,
yeah, yeah.
because there are a lot of players trying to get their opportunity within the national side, and there's very
Yes.
limited opportunities.
Yeah,
Now, how do you help each other out? There are a lot of dressing room stories which we keep hearing, and some very fun. You make a lot of friends,
yeah,
yeah, even today. So, how do you help each other? How did the team back up each other? Celebrate individual and team knocks. If you could share some interesting dressing room stories, that would be
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. Actually, speaking, when I played in Air India, I played alongside Anjumdi, Anju Jain, Purnima Rao, Julan,
Right.
and all these people who are absolutely the legends of the game. So I could learn a lot many things in the Air India team itself. So it was absolute pleasure playing with them and sharing dressing room with them. You get to learn so many things from these players, like how to go about a certain match, how to go about your work ethics, you can say, and then in a difficult situation, how these players play or handle a different situation or a difficult situation. These were the things I actually learned in Air India itself, because I still remember when I played in Air India team, Purnima was our captain that time, and me and Devika Palshikar, one more
Mhm.
former India player. It used to be like we always got bowling when the team was in a crunch situation.
Right.
So automatically from the Air India days itself, you are like trained to bowl in a different difficult situation always. Sometimes it is to be this is not a very difficult situation, so it became difficult to bowl actually because we got so used to bowl in a crunch situation
Right.
that sometimes it was like, oh, this situation is not that difficult. So, but definitely when I played for the Indian team, people like Mithali and all, when we see how they prepare themselves, the preparation itself is so amazing to watch. Or for that matter, Amita Sharma, Julan, the
Mm.
way these people have prepared for a particular match, even if it is a practice match or even if it is a camp, their work ethics are amazing. You seriously get to learn a lot of things from them.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Can you share some interesting stories about Mitali and Julian, also considering they're still with the team? And the fact that purely their records speak for how
Yeah,
big
yeah,
of a
yeah, definitely.
contribution they do for the national side. But
Uh,
all the awes around what the current team is right now with young talent and blood as well as experienced players like Julian and Mitali. You've seen them play in the current generation and the generation in the decade before. How much of it actually needs preparation, like you mentioned. Even today, the
mhm.
game has changed, formats have changed, T20 has come into the picture, there's more IPL format kind of
Yeah.
series and tournaments coming in as well for women's cricket. How do you think these players, especially the experienced ones, have started preparing themselves from how it was from your time?
Actually, when we played the 2014 World Cup, I saw Mithali opening the batting for India.
Mm.
This was a time where we were having a camp in Calcutta initially, and then we shifted to a place called Kalyani. But when we were in Calcutta, we were taken to a golf club because that helped us play the lofted shots. The way these experienced players have prepared themselves is like now they have adjusted so much to the new T20 format, even though now Julan and Mithali don't play those formats, but like till 2018 when they played, now they know the knack to alter the game as per the situation and as per the format of the game as well. You must have seen the South Africa series, even one
Right.
day and T20. One day, even if we lost both the series, it was obvious that these people, even if they now must be preparing mentally only, but
Right.
you need that specific time for that preparation on the field as well.
Absolutely.
Talking about Julan and Mithali, I will say that now they just have to fine tune the skills when it comes to the series or their game as in specific. But they have tremendously, I will say, altered the game, and they know how and when to apply, and they do it so very easily.
Right.
So
And
you must have seen Julan Bold in the
yes,
one day series. So she was
yes.
just amazing.
Even Mitali is knocked for
Even
1,700.
Mithali has,
Right.
it was like almost 15 every game she has got.
Right. Talking about her knock and then going off straight to your knock, I have to ask you about that T20 playoff match against Pakistan.
Ah,
You took 3 for 14
yeah,
and where you were declared the women of the
yeah,
match.
yeah, yeah,
How was that experience like? Firstly, T20 World Cup, and that
yeah.
was also your last tournament from the
Yes,
international
yes.
side. How was it like ending on a high note? What went on to the preparation for the match? What happened after the match? How did your
Ah,
colleagues and what did your colleagues and coaches tell you after that?
yeah. Before the match, it was a very bad situation for me because I had food poisoning, and just before that match, I was in a hospital
Wow.
taking saline.
Oh
But
my.
when I knew that the next day we were playing against Pakistan, and I was very sure in my mind that I didn't want to miss that. I mean, in the match against in the morning when we played Pakistan, Purnima Rao, that coach that time, and Mithali asked me, "Are you sure you're going to play?" I was like, "I'm very sure I'm going to play in the evening. Don't worry about me," because that match, it's like you wait for India-Pakistan match. Even if
Right.
we are going to watch an India-Pakistan match, it has that excitement factor in it. So actually, while you're going to get a chance to play against Pakistan, I was not going to miss that for sure.
That must be a delightful match, right,
It
for
was an
you?
amazing experience. I get goosebumps now also explaining it to you.
I'm sure. I'm sure. That's
Yeah.
that's a much needed experience in life, especially
Yes.
the last series of yours. Then it's a
Yes.
wonderful way to end your career on a high note.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Once you also retired from international cricket, you moved into coaching. How did that decision come into the picture for you?
See, I actually enjoyed coaching even before I had retired as well. I used to play coach at PYC Club Gymkhana when I was playing.
Oh,
So
okay.
I felt that it is coming naturally to me. I
Hmm.
used to just enjoy giving, fielding practice sometimes or telling few things. See, I was not certified coach that time, but
Right.
when you have almost 12 years of domestic experience, that much cricket you definitely know. So
Mhm.
if I'm having so much of experience, why not share it with these youngsters who are coming and learning this game?
Mhm.
So now also even I'm planning to do those level 1 and level 2 coaches and having a go in the coaching career as well.
Wow, fantastic. And interesting is, from the coaching scenario, like in women's cricket, though
Mhm.
there are academies and former players like you taking the initiative to nurture the future talent,
Mhm.
honestly, how transparent or based on performance is the selection process today?
I feel this, specifically the South Africa series, I will say that the selectors have already decided that they wanted to test the bench strength.
Right.
So, as per their thinking, this was a pretty good team, I will say,
Mhm.
because there were a lot of youngsters, and if they have to be nurtured or when you have to test your bench strength, you do have to make few changes in the team.
Right.
Unless and until you do these changes, you are not going to know who are the players whom you can nurture, or you can just have a look at them, and for that you do have to give a chance to these youngsters as well.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't think that was anything wrong. Yeah, definitely there was a few questions raised about Shefali Verma missing from one day team, but
Right.
I feel that she is still young, so it's not that it's too late for her that she cannot be in the team.
Right.
I'm sure they have her in mind as for the one day team as well.
I'm sure. Right. But we hear all of these selection based controversies and conversations around state boards and selection processes. Does that happen actively in women's cricket as well in terms of the selection process? Do you think,
Uh,
you know, is there a muck there as well in terms of younger talents or better talents coming out today?
See, every person has a different perspective when you look at this selection process, but I will definitely say that there are a lot of youngsters who are coming and performing well, because there are lot many youngsters who, despite of this pandemic, they couldn't practice well or whatever, but there are many girls who are doing well, and definitely the youngsters are coming up very well and giving a good tough, I will say that there are a lot of tough, you can say, competition for each of them in
Mhm.
themselves also.
Right, right. Interesting. Let's talk a little bit about your coaching now. You also mentioned your stint with BYC.
Mhm.
What are some of the basic challenges you notice when it comes to onboarding new players or even while coaching or post the camp? What are really the challenges today as a coach for
Mhm.
women's cricket team?
To be honest, in Pune, there are almost 10 to 12 teams which participate in a local tournament. So there are a lot many girls playing cricket in Pune these days. So girls coming to your cricket coaching is not a problem. But
Mhm.
yes, definitely as there are a lot many girls coming up, I feel that there should be more matches regarding the selection should be held in Pune itself and even in other districts. But I will say for challenges, when you have a club like bigger clubs like PYC, Deccan, I
Mhm.
feel that there should be specific or one or two nets kept aside for the girls, at least one net which
Mhm.
should be kept aside for the girls so that they can have alternate days net practice. Initially, there was when I was there, definitely PYC had such specific net for us reserved where I'm coaching right now, that AK Sports Academy. Definitely, we have a special batch for girls, and you get all the facilities for girls are available over there.
Right.
So that is a very good initiative. Challenges as like there are few girls more about missing exams or not, but fortunately there are solutions for this, that such re-exams are taken from colleges. You give a letters to the college and all. Even colleges and schools are promoting women's cricket these days. So though there are challenges, I will say, but the challenges are definitely reducing.
Right. But larger challenge from beyond the coaching aspect of it is also the exposure to women's cricket, right?
Mhm.
More from the parents' point of view. And this is a conversation that I had with Yash also in the previous episode, where we were talking about the fact that how do we get more younger talent into the women's cricket team, right? Does it need to start at home, from the aspect that parents are comfortable looking at their children or daughters being a part of the Indian cricket team or the domestic cricket for that fact as well? Do you think that's also a challenge that you face, firstly, even before the process of the younger talent even coming to the camps and playing?
Yeah, definitely. Because I will say somewhere the parents do think likewise, or may think likewise, that financially they even want their daughters to be stable.
Right.
But thankfully, now that the BCC has come in and the merger has done, so since merger has happened in women's cricket, there are a lot many more opportunities. If at all your kid doesn't want to play cricket, but there are a lot many other opportunities like scoring or physios,
Right.
trainer. There are many more such opportunities. Match referees are there, umpires are there. Definitely, there are a lot many opportunities for the girls, and I'm sure the parents nowadays are aware of them, because BCCI website they do have that you can do a level training course or something similar to this. And there are many other such academies, like I guess Rohit Sharma's academy is
Right.
there, who do coaching courses for the girls and boys together. So
Right.
there are many opportunities for coaching as well, and for the parents nowadays, I'm sure they are very much become aware because of the, especially after the 2017, which was, I will say, the big thing happened in women's cricket.
Right, right. Very interesting aspect there. But Sonia, this also is an extension conversations to schools and colleges, right?
Mhm.
Why do you think there isn't enough of focus in school and college yet to invest in women's cricket as a basic part of their curriculum? Like you mentioned,
Definitely,
getting the nets is also a
definitely.
challenge, right?
I think colleges they do have tournaments like inter college, and they do have that's for the girls. But I feel that inter schools and inter colleges they should get media exposure more. I feel, because the media should cover the matches happening between the inter school tournament or even a inter college tournament. I'm sure there are many newspapers who cover them.
Mhm.
But when you make a proper advertisement that these tournaments are going to take place from so and so date, then people will know that there's going to be a intercollegiate tournament or even inter-school tournament. So
Right.
the marketing in itself for women's cricket in schools and colleges should be done, I think, can be done more wisely or in a better way, I feel.
Mhm. Right. With no disrespect, I was having this conversation, and one of my colleagues
Mhm.
in the corporate space jokingly said, the corporate levels also have their women's cricket tournament arranged.
Yes.
But that's normally seen in a very fun and a light way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the men's game is considered very much more serious, right?
Exactly.
Firstly, how do you change that mindset, from people to people? Because I'm fed up having this conversation, equally talking about cricket as a sport, right? Be it
Mhm.
with men's or women's. And when you go on Twitter, you see this very evidently where there's a lot of people talking about the women's cricket
Yeah.
matches that are happening. How can you change this mindset from a household point of view or from a corporate level or even from schools and colleges? Like, I get back to schools and colleges again. What can we do differently where more and more people start coming in? And prime example is during the World Cup, we saw a huge turnout
Yeah, yeah.
during, in the stadiums to watch the match. How can we
Yes.
really encourage that part for even the ODIs, T20s, and test matches or any
Yeah,
other
yeah.
tournaments in the future?
See, actually, one thing which came to my mind when I thought about this corporate thing, that like when I was in Air India, we
Hmm.
had a contract with Air India. Every year we used to get renewed with that contract. So similarly, if an IT company can have a contract with few players, and then their matches would be a pretty at a competitive level, because they will have players representing state or a
Right.
zone. They'll be playing from their team. So if at all they can do such things, then I see that the corporate matches of girls, which I've seen, I guess they play on a tennis ball. But even
Yes.
if it is a tennis ball match, if you include state player or a zone player in that, giving her a, let's say a yearly contract or whatever, if these things can come up, then there will be a good thing happening with those corporate matches as well, and I'm sure that will be taken very seriously. State players, when you have one or two state players in your team, the others definitely are inspired on different kind of an encouragement when these players play, or just have a chat with them.
Right.
I had myself played one tennis ball tournament. There were really good players from some Wipro and Infosys, few players from these teams.
Right.
So I could see there was really good players who were, even though they played tennis ball, they
Mhm.
had a good knack of playing that game.
Right. Right. You also mentioned in one of your interviews that you want to contribute similar to what Rahul Dravid has
Yes.
done to groom the younger generation of people,
Yes.
right? And Rahul Dravid has been a part of some amazing stories today who play
Yes.
for the national side.
Yes.
Tell me a few stories about your players who you have coached, even from the background that they come to where they are and what they're doing currently, and in terms of from the inspirational point of view, you must have met some amazing young kids out there
Yes.
who are trying to
Yes.
prove themselves. Tell me something about them, please.
Actually, there are three players who are representing Maharashtra in senior team. There is one Utkarsha Pawar who represents senior, who's been senior Maharashtra team quite a long, but last to last he was selected for the India C team for the Under 23 Challenger Trophy.
Okay. Wow.
Then one girl this year, Shravani Desai, she is an Under 19 player. She
Mhm.
led the Maharashtra team last year, Under 19, and she was selected for the senior team this year because of her performance. So these three girls are there who are really doing well. Then there was one of my students, Sai Purandare, who now plays for Meghalaya.
Mhm.
But 2 years back, she was the highest scorer in BCCI,
Wow.
better in BCCI tournament. So yeah, it feels good when these people perform.
And are you in touch with them still? And
Yeah, yeah, very much.
very cool story. Nice one, yeah. So, one more aspect of your game beyond as a
Mhm.
player rather than a coach is
Mhm.
fielding has been your strength. And you believe that you got a chance in the Indian team because of your fielding skills as well,
Yeah.
right? You still focus on fielding as a part of coaching as an important aspect because, a lot of people are talking about hard hitting and everyone's talking about death bowling and all those kind of things. But no one's having really a concrete
Yeah.
conversation about amazing fielding. Are you
No,
focusing on fielding still?
definitely. For me, it is like fielding is the only thing which is in your hands.
Mhm.
You getting a LBW bad decision that is not in your hands. If you're a bowler, if someone drops a catch on your bowling, it is not in your hands. Fielding is like you can set your own standards and you can just have a tough competition with yourself every day and day in and day out. So I feel that even if I will say an average skilled player is there, and if she is a very good fielder, I'll definitely play her because if a player can save 20 to 25 runs, it will definitely affect the team's performance. I'm very sure about it because
Right.
there is one crucial run out from a particular player that can definitely change a match.
Right.
I feel.
And where did this interest for fielding come in? Like were you like jumping around everywhere during the
I don't know from where actually this interest of fielding, but I was always interested in fielding. Maybe I used to like and love diving around.
right?
So because of that, but I have enjoyed my fielding thoroughly. Even today, if I play a match, I enjoy my fielding.
Lovely,
Yeah.
lovely. And to conclude this round of question, I have to ask you this. Now with younger blood coming into the team and building a strong team, the
Mhm.
likes of Poonam, Radha, Smriti,
Yeah.
Shifali, and Jemima,
Yeah.
what are your preparation tips for the youngsters who come for coaching? Looking at these people as inspiration and wanting to
Mhm.
be a part of the team at a very early age.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your coaching tips for them in terms of seeking inspiration from the current generation?
Definitely, I will. I really do tell them to focus on their fitness first thing,
Right.
and the second thing is if you are good in your basics, you can improvise anytime. So I feel that if you stick to your basics, that will be the best thing you can do when you are going to play all these matches. If you see Smriti batting, she doesn't do anything fancy. Like I've never seen Smriti reverse sweeping or the shots with which the elegance which she has
Right.
I'm sure she has the stronger base than anyone else. Or for that matter Mithali.
Right.
Even if these people hit sixes, their base is extremely strong. Yeah, you must have seen Harman's innings of
Right.
177.
Yeah. Yes.
The base with which she could step out and hit those. If you have a strong base, the basics, if you are strong, you can improvise at any point of time in the game. So
Mhm.
that is one thing which I tell. And definitely, cricket has changed so much that you have to score run a ball. Don't have any other option. It is not like how it was before that you take your time and then you just go. Yeah, you do take your time, but
Mhm.
with that, you have to just keep on rotating your strike because
Mhm.
that is the need of the game, which has changed a lot. you have to have 100 strike rate at any cost. Of course, in T20 you should have 100 plus, but
Mhm.
even in one day, even if you're having a 70-80 strike rate, people start talking about you, which is actually there is no need.
Mhm.
But I definitely tell one thing to my students, that you have to learn to build up your innings when you are playing one day. Fortunately, we have best example for this is Mithali. The
Mhm.
way she paces her innings, the way she builds her innings, Smriti, Mithali. There are so many examples they have in front of them. So this is the way they have to go about it.
Right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. Lovely, fantastic stuff, Sonia. This brings
Thank
us to the end of our first round of
you.
questions. I am now going to head into a more lighter, candid round with some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, all right then.
Yeah.
Your favorite player in the current scenario and back then globally?
Current scenario, Smriti, globally Mithali.
Okay. From the domestic circuit, any players you think who will make it to the international side soon and is to look forward to?
I think Shefali is already there in the T20 side, Shefali Verma, but I would like to see her in one day as well.
Okay. Best bowler you have played in the domestic or international game?
Neetu David.
Okay. And the best batsman you have bowled to in the domestic or international
Of
game?
course, goes without saying Mithali. But unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to bowl to Anju Jain, but she's also one of my favorite batsmen. The
Mhm.
way she used to bat was amazing. It was a treat to watch Anju Jain. And of course, her wicket keeping. Till date, she's, I think, one of the best wicket keepers we've had.
Wow. Okay. Your favorite tip for anyone to improve their fielding?
Watch the ball.
As simple as that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Your tip for people who want to coach women cricketers?
Just enjoy sharing things with the youngsters.
Okay. If one wants to learn from you, how do they approach you?
You can call me anytime.
Awesome. And what's next in store for you?
I am looking forward to do a level 2 hybrid course, which is happening. I don't know when, but that is organized by NCA for the former players. We can directly to do that level 2. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it happens soon.
Right. Amazing. Well done, Sonia. Wonderful
Yeah.
answers there. And now moving into the last segment of the show. And this
Yes.
question we take from the social media.
Okay.
And this question is from Urvi Shah. And
Mhm.
she asks, how much of an impact will it make on a player's growth if a mental health professional is added to the squad from domestic level for
Mhm.
highly competitive international matches? From the perspective of regulating the performance pressure on field if they play after gaps.
Mhm.
So, what is your perspective on that?
I definitely feel that there should be such kind of people in the domestic circuit, but I will say they should be made available to the teams of India A level or of zone teams, because from since when you start playing from 19 or even under 16 tournament, till the time you reach India A, that is the time when you will need person to be there with you, because at that point of time I feel that it is so near yet so far for a person who just get into that India.
Right.
At that point of time there are many people who are like can have that thing in the mind that, oh, I'm just one step but it's not happening. So
Mhm.
at that point of time you need that person to just help you out with there are finer things which they know better than anyone else.
Right, right. And what about the international team? Do you think
Yeah,
there's
of course they have. They should have, because it really helped. Because before 2014 World Cup, when we were going to go, we had one session with one person in Calcutta, Eden Gardens, and it was an amazing session which we had, and it really helped. So I think for Indian team, it should be there for the whole season. They
right,
should be there actually.
fantastic? Great stuff, Sonia. Thank you. That brings us to the end of today's show.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much.
giving us a first-hand information on what happens on field and off field in the women's cricket. There's also so many conversations to have on each aspect of the game. I
Yes.
thoroughly enjoyed my conversation with
Same
you.
here.
I
Same here. We had a great time.
superb, Sonia. Thank you so
Yes.
much for
Thank
your
you
time,
so
and I
much.
wish you all the best for your future.
Wish you the same. Thank you so much.
Well, if you ever want to know the struggles, the challenges, the victories, and small joys that sports personalities go through, you can only understand when you talk to them. In a country where cricket is a religion, we need to celebrate everyone's journey who gives it all to the game unconditionally, like Soniya and many others. And if you have any questions on today's episode or any feedback on the show, you can write to me at deliberatetalks@gmail.com or connect with me on the social media channels and the audio platforms. Join in next Monday for another episode. Until then, please take care of yourself and don't forget to inspire and be inspired.